Hello, my name is Josh and welcome to Blues Focus. I'm here today to give you a match reaction to Blues versus Wigan at Wigan on the 4th of the 3rd, 2023. So Blues come into this game on 4 straight losses and I think the team was set up with that in mind. I don't think the manager had any sort of expectations for a classic in this game at all. When you're playing bottom of the league, there's a level of quality that is missing from both teams because your reasons why you are down the bottom of the league is there for everyone to see. I do believe that Blues could have approached this slightly better, but then again, I understand that with a team that's lost 4 on the bounce, the morale's probably at the lowest it can be, and that's all Blues can work with at the moment. They can work with morale, and they can't change because our squad is so threadbare, and that's the word to use at the moment, is threadbare. It's a small squad to start with, but when you lose key people in key positions, then it's only going to go one way, and that's been the story of the Blues season since the turn of the year, really, since the World Cup break, that where we're losing certain players from key positions. Form has dropped as well, I think, because the allure of maybe making World Cup squads or just having the new manager bounce in John Eustace has now gone, and them same questions he's asking, the same things he's drumming into the players because he can't chop and change, is probably ringing a bit boring to some. And also, some of these players have been in the same position season after season after season, and there's no change. If you imagine, working in a workplace where you're constantly hearing the same negative connotations about your working environment, then what do you expect? But back to the game itself, it was a good free kick. It was a cracking free kick from Bakuna. That's what he's got in his locker. The downside is you only get to see it a few times a season, and if it was more consistent, he wouldn't be at Blues. And that is a thread and a theme that I see a lot on social media, and I do tend to agree with it to a point. But when it's crunch time, when it's the all the superlatives that we ever use for this time of the season, that's what you call upon. You call upon players to pull something out of the bag, and he did do that. It was a cracking performance, and to be fair for me, he was the man of the match, and the stats back it up. So score had previously given him 7.6 out of 10 after the game. I now think it's raised to 7.8. For me, Bakuna was what he's always been for Blues today. He can be the outlet, he can be that player, that maverick can do something for us. But the problem is we don't see it as often as we probably would like. The next best for Blues was Jordan Graham. I really didn't want to see him play today. I didn't think he was the right answer to the questions we were asking, but I think he put in a good performance. His crossing can be left a lot to the imagination, but sometimes he can pull out a worldie out of nowhere. So, 7.4 I think is fair. The next best for Blues was Colin at 6.8, Duke at 6.9, Chong at 6.7. All much for muchness, really. It was a bottom of the table clash, and there was not a lot of Blues on the ball, really. It was 72% to Wigan and 28% to Blues, and Blues on the whole do seem this season to play better without the ball. I just worry that you're allowing a team that's bereft of confidence, as well as we are at the bottom of the league, to dictate the play. That worries me. That's not what I saw from Blues at the start of the season. But to caveat that, they've had a whole season that they're running through, and I think there's some tired minds as well as tired legs in that squad. And I think if you was able to rotate more, you probably wouldn't have that. But as we've got such a small squad, that's what happens. We have to talk about the penalty miss. That's what separates teams that break away from relegation battles and what get dragged into it. And I think that has to fall on Eustace's head. He should have said that, the form player takes the pen if we get one. And the form player of that game today was Bakuna. Second to that, I would probably say maybe Chong, because I've seen Duke miss penalties. I've seen Hogan miss penalties. Hogan's only scored 2 penalties for Blues. He's missed 3 others for Blues and then 1 for Brentford. I've got the stats here. They're quite depressing, really. I don't really want to go into it, but ironically, he scored 2 penalties for Blues, 1 away and 1 at home at Swansea in 2 seasons apart. So it's not a glowing record, and Hogan's performances have not been very good at all since he come back from injury, and that is the issue. When your main striker that you're relying on for goals is so off it, and he just looks like a broken man, there is no. There's only going to go one way. It's going to be a poor performance, and it's game after game, season after season. This happens for Hogan. He will go through a really, really bad spot, and for me, this is now the line in the sand. He has to be removed from the starting lineup. Keep him in the squad because we haven't got anybody else. And for me, I would use Kadra. Kadra needs to come in now to start games. His energy, his willingness to run and chase, just nothing is what we need. Hogan looks like a bystander. In comms today on Blues TV, they even acknowledged that he looked like a bystander. It's not all about Hogan, but when you need to win games, your strikers are under more of a scrutiny for me, and your defenders. Everyone is, but if you're not taking chances or trying to make chances, then people are going to start calling you out, and it's nothing personal. We all want the club to do well, and ultimately we have too many people in key roles within our starting 11 still that have been here, done that, and got the losers medal, and that's what we're doing. We're circling the drain yet again. And before the game, I spoke to some Blues fans, and the consensus was 4 points for the next 2 games. That's what we need. That's what we would all take. We would bite the hand off for it. John's got 1. He's got 1 of the 4 that we need. Now, for me, I would have rather tried to win the game that you're in, and then think about the games later on. Get the points on the board. You've got travelling fans, give them something to shout about. That's how I would see it, but I'm seeing it as a fan point of view. If it's my job on the line, do I want to risk the idea of going in on 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 losses on the bounce? Probably not. So I can understand the thought process from the manager by thinking, I'll throw Roberts on with a few minutes to go, shore it up, we take what we've got. I'm happy to call it a draw and on to the next. I can understand it. Doesn't mean I necessarily agree with it, but I understand it. In the past, when the likes of Karanka bringing on a 4th or 5th defender at 60 odd minutes was criminal. This, I don't think, is the same bracket. I think it's a manager who thinks, I'm too close to taking a point here. I don't want to risk not coming away with anything. It does seem defeatist. It does seem short-sighted, but I can see the thought process behind it. But what it also does now is, if Eustace tries to be conservative at home against Rotherham, the fans will just turn. They won't see the bigger picture. They'll see, well, you're not up to it. You're not where we need you to be. And that's what I worry about. The stats, as I say, don't make for brilliant reading, but I think they do point to something here. Blues had 13 shots, 2 were on target, 4 were off, and 4 were blocked. That shows that they are trying to create. So I think in the past, some games when I've tried to call out Hogan, for example, they say the service isn't there. I think the service was there today, but you're playing the bottom of the league. It should be. They're bottom of the league for a reason, and I think we have missed a chance by getting some points on the board and trying to pull ourselves away. It makes a Rotherham game now, like many other seasons against Rotherham, it makes it a bigger game, so we have to get something from that. If he's been conservative in this game, fine. He cannot be conservative and pragmatic and just downright inexperienced in the next game. He's going to have to find something within that squad, give them the confidence to go out there and take a team to the sword, because we have done that in the past. The way we've played against Baggies, home and away, that's the sort of level we need to be doing, and that comes with certain players stepping up and beating a team, basically, and beating them in every position possible. Some players today were the same old, we phoning it in with their poor performances, so I just hope the next game can turn for us. I'm not on the mindset of sacking the manager. I think it affects our budget for next season. I think it affects too many things going forward, and I honestly don't see who comes in, because this is the same thing we've done season after season. So for me, yes, we've got the rot. It's a point. Is it 3? Is it 2 points lost? I don't know. I don't know yet. We'll only know that more, I think, as the days go on. But start of the game, I really wanted a win today, and we didn't get one. So I just hope we can get that win that we desperately need against Rotherham. That gives everybody a bit of confidence. A week's a long time in football. You never know what could happen. And with what's surrounded the club recently, I'm just glad that the football's over for the day. I really am. And I'll be there next week. And I just hope that Blues can show a bit more fight. That's all I hope for. And yeah, the agile thing, keep right on.